That's what we do. Man, we have so many things that are going on. I'm like, where are we at today? And what's today?
There's a lot of platforms to
Yeah,
keep
and
track of.
yeah, definitely. And then now with back to school, are your kids back in school yet, or have they started, or
My kids started yesterday. Yesterday was
yesterday?
their first day, and it just gets you have to take that picture on your first day. Just right every year, you kind of see these kids growing, and time is just flying.
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely the next generation. Do you guys remember Andres, right? He was with us
Uh-huh.
last week.
Yeah.
So, his daughter is going to college already, and
Oh.
sounds like she's following on his footsteps, going for her accounting and everything that deals with that, as far as her major goes. So I think that's great, following in her dad's footsteps. Eventually, that's what we all want, right?
Honestly, I think the career in accounting, tax prep is the best. It kind of opens up a lot of doors, a lot of opportunities, especially now that there's the demand for tax professionals is higher than the supply.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
not as many
absolutely.
people going into this field, and we need more people because the demand is high.
Yes, and with everything that's being so complex, I mean, look at the topic that we've been talking about for the last few weeks.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The one big beautiful bill, and how it's ever changing, and we're still waiting for guidance. So yeah, I think it was great. I took my kids today for first day of school. My
Oh,
little girl, she's a sixth grader, and my son is a sophomore now. So it's I'm looking at that, and I'm like, man, where when did you grow?
they're
For
growing
So
up.
sure.
yeah, they're definitely growing,
Yeah.
and it's very quick. And one of the things that I have told my sons, like, hey, I know you're still young, and probably right now this is not really what you want to think about, but you should probably start thinking about what you want to do.
Oh yeah,
And
by sophomore year, definitely. Yeah. We've
yeah,
been having
yeah,
those same conversations.
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, and I was like, college is the minimum for you, right? And he's like, well, yeah, I guess. But it's funny. All
There you
right.
go,
Hey,
Josue.
hey, Josue, how's it going? Okay, now we can get the party started.
Can you hear me
Th-
okay?
Yes, sir.
All
So
right.
we're live. Thank you, everybody that joined us here on the Zoom platform. And I hope that if you have any kids and you've actually taken them to their first day of school, that it's going great, and that they may have a successful year, as well as start really identifying what is it they want to do with their lives. I know for the most part, even when I was a kid, the go-to careers are cops, firefighters, those exciting ones. But at the end of the day, we all end up in a different um, setting and industry. I didn't think I was going to be doing taxes or in the accounting world for that matter. But thank you, everybody, and also that everybody that's joining us through our social media platforms, whether it's YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. Today we're back with another episode. We missed you guys last week, so we had to take a quick break and then reestablish ourselves. But we didn't forget or ignore some of these questions. So today we're bringing back a depreciation, talking about and expanding a little bit more on that. And today we have Josue, Nejla, and Nadia. For those that don't know them, or know of them, we're going to be introducing them right now. So Josue, we'll start with you, and then we'll end up with the ladies.
Thanks. It's actually backwards, but all right.
Oh,
Well, my name's Josue Rojas. I'm the district manager at Lopez Tax Service. I've been doing taxes about 20 years now. I specialize in corporations, partnerships, audit representations, and I also do offers and compromises. And just like you, I'm always willing to learn and looking to learning more. And the one thing about taxes is it changes almost every year. So I look forward to see what new changes are and hopefully what like I can do to help benefit my clients out. So really nice to be here. Thank you.
awesome. Thank you, Josue. And sometimes even that same tax season, right? Like a couple years ago. That
Oh
was
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Next, we'll go with Nejla. Nesh, do you mind reintroducing yourself to our audience and our friends out that are watching us today?
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Najla Smith. I'm a CPA and owner of Compass Tax and Accounting, a fully bilingual accounting firm in South Dakota. And we specialize with individual and business tax returns and accounting for them. I'm really happy to be here today. And you may have seen me at Latino Tax Fest this last year talking about ITINs and immigration. So happy to be here and help out with understanding this big, beautiful bill.
Thank you, Nesla, and it's always great and a pleasure to have you here with us. And last but not least, Miss Nadia, do you mind introducing yourself? Oh, you're muted. Uh-oh.
Sure.
Oh, there we
Okay,
go.
am I good?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I had a really good introduction. No, I'll still continue. Yes, everyone, good to meet you. My name is Nadia Rodriguez. I am a practicing CPA out of Dallas, Texas. Been in business for over 15 years. I do tax compliance, tax advisory, and teaching, which is one of my passions. And Latino Tax Fest invites me every year, which I'm very grateful to share my knowledge on stage with everyone. And this is where I met the amazing speakers with us today, and Vince. Very happy to see everybody here today. And now that the kids are going back to school and we're getting back into the routine, this session is perfect because gets us ready into what the bill is, what we can start advising our clients, especially if we start meeting with them the upcoming tax season deadline, right? September 15, October 15 gets us ready to bring that conversation to that table.
Ah, that's right. Thank you, Nadia. I totally forgot about extensions. I don't know why. But with so much going on, and then a quick recap of what we talked about, which is the depreciation. I know there was a lot on, well, what do I do with this one? 100%. How far is it out? Um, Nadia, since we ended up with you, do you mind kicking us off?
Yeah. So with we've been used to depreciation expense, and we had the bill where it expanded our 100%, where we're allowed to take 100% of the expense on the assets that we purchase for the business. Now we do have to purchase those assets and place them in service after January 19 of 2025 for them to be eligible 100%. I think last session we had talked about it, like if you bought the asset maybe January 1st and didn't place it into service after January 19th, that's not going to be valid. You're still going to be subject to 40% of a write-off, which is still pretty good, right? Instead of doing maker's depreciation where you have to write it off over the life of the asset. But I think this is a great tax planning tool. If that client of yours is thinking about buying those assets for the business, well, hey, we're past the January 19th deadline. Let's go ahead and start, if that's what they were investing in, now we can write off 100%. I did want to mention though, it's not 100% of a depreciation bonus is a default election, or it's a default depreciation. If we do not want to take the bonus depreciation, we do have to elect out through an election that we attach to the tax return. And sometimes maybe it's not a good idea to take bonus depreciation. Maybe the business is starting, the profits are not really there to write anything off. So let's go ahead and expend that depreciation expense over the life of the asset. Not sure, Josue and Nejla, have you come across clients that, maybe it's not 100% the best option to do bonus depreciation expense?
Yeah, that's exactly when they first start out on the business, it's definitely better for them to take it over a period of time instead of taking it all at once because they're already at that low of income that it can carry over. They can use that expense later on in the future. But yeah, that's a good example.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just to piggyback off of that, Nadia, just to remember that we can still go back and elect to also use the depreciation, the bonus depreciation amounts that would have been in place for 2025 and 2026, that down to that 40% if we needed to use that instead.
Yeah, so there's some planning strategies, right? Do we do 40%? Do we do 60% or no depreciation bonus at all? Maybe just write it off over the life of the asset. So yes, definitely start bringing those conversations to our clients.
Yeah, and with planning, I know Josue, you like to do planning, and you've done a lot of planning with a lot of these clients. Quite a quick question for you, a little bit kind of off, but on the topic. How many tax returns do you do? I know.
I do. Yeah, I do around during tax season is about 800 individual returns and about 200 corporations partnerships.
So
And
focused on, thank you. And sorry
yeah,
to cut you off. And you do more like, and students too? I think you do some
uh,
college ones, right?
not only the parents, but if they are on there, yeah, I have the students, the
Like, I
kids on there
guess.
as well.
Uh,
But yeah, I like to do a lot of tax planning with a lot of my clients. I usually, when I do the tax return, I usually set up a mid-year review with my clients, especially the ones that are business owners or looking to expand their business. I always say, hey, you know what? Let's do a mid-year review. We'll check it out, especially this year because we know some laws are changing. Let's see what we can do. So I always suggest to, you think it's like a one time and they're done, but you want to visit the clients multiple times to make sure they're prepared for this coming tax season, this coming year. Yeah, I actually did a couple of mid-year reviews this morning before this session, but yeah.
Perfect. And I think that that leads into this segue of, based on the changes that are happening with depreciation and the bonus depreciations, and if they're startups or are there clients that have been established already, what changes have you helped them with so they can make tax season smoother and pay. Everybody likes this number to get as close. I like to say it to get as close to zero as possible.
Well,
Uh,
like Nadia was saying, I think that there's just a lot of planning opportunities so that we can go ahead and reach out to those clients who paid a lot of tax last year and say, hey, do you need to have any other equipment for your business? Now is the time to do it. If we didn't do it last year, we can take that 100% bonus depreciation, and that can really, like you said, get us closer to zero.
yeah, it's always even individuals, everybody wants to pay the least amount. How do
Mhm.
you go about that, Nadia?
Yeah, definitely like before the year ends, because if we're talking to our clients at tax season about last year's return, it really is just bringing everything together and doing the compliance. There's nothing we can do after December 31st. So the time really is, let's look at the financials, which the number one thing a business has to have their bookkeeping in order. If they're not going to do their own bookkeeping, maybe have somebody that you partner with or you do it yourself for them at a service, of course, service charge of keeping their books straight, because that's the only roadmap that we need and that we require in order to advise. Is how's the income looking? And how do we know what the income is or what the forecasted expenses are? Is if we have bookkeeping in line and the books are straight. So one of the other things that we were talking about with the One Big Beautiful Bill right before we got online with Nejla was the qualified production property, the manufacturers. So think about the facilities, the warehouses that actually produce some tangible goods. There is, and I was looking at this, and we can talk about it, after and do more research. But instead of depreciating that building over 39 years, you can actually take 100% of a bonus depreciation deduction. And that it was, I mean, I've never heard of something like that, right? We always have to do 39 years. Now, there are some rules that the part of the business or the part of the building that is related to administrative tasks or the employee break room, that's not going to be able to be written off. But the portion of that facility that is producing those manufactured goods can qualify for bonus depreciation, which is a really huge advantage.
That's actually
Uh,
really amazing, Nadia. I still can't get over that bit.
Right. So does anybody, in the chat, do you have clients that are manufacturers that have facilities that are producing these kind of tangible goods? With bonus depreciation, we talked a little bit about it last session about the new thing that's now listed on there is the sound production equipment that is also qualified as bonus. You can depreciate or you can write it off 100%. Also the plants, we're talking about farmers, that's kind of new. But if it comes also to tax planning, I think one of the really interesting things that came with the One Big Beautiful Bill is the qualified small business stock. Now, what that is when you have taxpayer clients that form a corporation and it's considered a small business, which really small business I think the limit went up to gross assets of under $75 million. That's considered a small business. So if you have a small business corporation, and so you own the stock in this corporation and you've held it, what the rule was before, if you as a shareholder are holding this stock for at least 5 years, you can, and you sell the stock. So let's say you retire, you sell your business, so you sell your stock in that corporation. 100% of the taxable of the gain is not taxable up to a certain limit. I think it was $5 million. Now with the one big beautiful bill, it went all the way up to $10 million. And not only do you not have to hold that stock for 5 million or for 5 years, now it's actually phased into, like, if you hold it for at least 3 years, then 75% is able to be tax free. So that's a really good advantage if you have clients that are thinking about forming a corporation, or if you have existing clients that have a corporation, you have to reissue some stock after July 4th of 2025 in order for that stock to qualify as small business stock if they were to ever sell that. So that's a really good advantage that we have for those clients that are corporate clients.
Awesome. And these are great definitely touch points, Nadia and Nesh, Josue. And I guess this question is going to be for more all three of you because everybody has different type of clients and different type of scenarios. But what would you guys say would be the most top or the top missed deductions or credits that are overlooked either by the professional or even the client when they have something and they don't tell us everything because they assume that we can read their minds. So what would you say to that, Nadia? We'll start with Nadia and then we'll just go
Yeah.
go around.
And I think that I think where the biggest mistake that happens with taxpayers is that they wait until tax time when they're filing the return. And, so everything, they're gathering all these documents together. And so it's really hard for them to start thinking about, well, what did I spend the money on? They probably are mixing their bank accounts, their business bank account with their personal bank account. So I do see a lot of missed expenses that are on the personal bank account that, they just really didn't think about. And to be honest, does anybody remember what you spent money a month ago on? Can you imagine a whole year ago? So it's really hard for clients that are not keeping their books in order, or they're using their personal cards for to pay for business expenses. So it's really it's those missed expenses that get charged on the personal account. And then also another thing, and it is a question that I asked them, at tax time, is did you use a space in your office or in your home as a home office? Did you drive your car? And if you did you keep track of your miles? You probably didn't. So let's start reconstructing. Go back through your calendar and start writing down those miles of all those business trips that you did. So it's a lot of time that we have to spend with our clients during tax time. And we're preparing returns. We're busy back to back. That's not the time for us to really gather everybody's documents. So really, as the business owner, start helping your clients throughout the year of not only tax planning, but also getting them organized with those books, because you do miss some expenses that you just didn't think about, you don't remember. And when it comes to tax time, we're just trying to get the tax return filings done.
Thank you,
Nadia,
Nadia.
do you have the same clients that I do? Because sounds exactly what happens, especially those cash expenses that they'll go pay something with cash and then they won't keep the receipt, or they'll buy equipment from Facebook Marketplace and pay for it in cash. Then did you pay use tax on it? Kind of different elements there, but really sounds like what we go through as well.
Mhm.
Thank you, Nesh and Nadia. Josue, don't you love it when those clients bring in? I think you had the most recent, one of the most recent unique ways to send to give you the receipts, right?
Oh yeah, they bring in big old the bags
Yeah.
that to bring in receipts. Definitely business is a must. I have even personal stuff that people forget to bring me. Like for example, I had one of my close friends I haven't seen from high school, but so, I was like, any big changes, anything? He's like, no, just the same as last year. And then I was like, wait, didn't you have a baby? Oh yeah, I forgot. Let me go ahead and add the baby in there. I get that almost all the time. And then there might be some where parents don't realize that they can actually claim their child even though they're not living with them because they're a full-time student and they forget to give us that 1098T tuition. They're like, oh, I didn't think I can claim my child because they're not living with me. Well, if they're a full-time student, you still be able to claim the child
Mhm.
and you'll still be able to use them. So not just businesses, but even as for personal, I always try to do a notes on my clients and saying, hey, what's new? They're doing a tax planning. Maybe they're buying a house. Maybe they're having a child on the way. Parents are just passed away this year. They're going to inherit some stuff. I put some notes on there for next year when I talk to them to see what changes or anything happening on there. So it's very key if you guys are doing taxes, especially if you're new doing taxes, to make sure you put notes when you're interviewing the client when they come in for taxes.
And one other thing that I wanted to mention when Josue was talking about the kids is that a lot of times my clients will forget to add dependent care for summer camps, for day camp. They'll not really realize that that qualifies as a dependent care credit option there. They think, oh, well, it's just daycare or it's just preschool. But actually, summer camp also counts towards that. So that's something that gets missed quite often, but I try to bring that up with my clients.
Is there an age limitation for that, Nesh?
13.
Okay.
13 is the age limit.
Yeah, so
So
like
our
okay.
sophomores don't count.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I have my kids out.
I know that hurt me because those are not cheap, those after school programs, those summer camps. But you know, in the one big beautiful bill, what did come was starting in 2026 for that dependent care expense credit. Now it went up from 20% to actually 50% of those expenses. And so
Wow.
that's kind of nice, you know, if your child qualifies or if you have taxpayers that are under, they have kids that are under the age of 13, it's gonna be nice for 2026. And also
Yes,
the contribution, right, with your employer. If you have a W-2 and you're contributing to that dependent care FSA, I think the limit used to be up to $5,000. So remember, those contributions won't be subject to tax. So so it's a nice benefit. That benefit is going up to 7,500. You can actually put in 7,500 into that dependent care FSA. And again, because these daycare fees are really expensive. So yeah, 70, any penny helps out for that.
absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely would see them at I haven't done taxes in a couple of years, but when I would, I would like, but I spend this much amount, and I'm like, I understand, but there is limitations, and that when we say limitations, people seem to forget what that means. Like,
Mhm.
what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean? What do I mean? It's a
My
limit.
bank account was not limited, right? I
Yeah,
don't have
yeah.
to pay 100% of it. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely that was some of the pushback that I would receive. But you know, as we're approaching that half hour mark and getting closer to opening up for Q&A. So if you do have them, please submit them here in the Q&A box. If you're on any of the social media platforms, put them in the question mark or in the comment section, and I will read them out. But you know, what advice would you guys give the tax professionals to stay connected, stay informed, how to prepare, really make the most out of you know the technology, the tools, being part of events, networking. I know Latino Tax Pass, we can't have it all the time, but it definitely it's a great way to start networking and being there and the education. I mean, there's so much information out there. Well, what would you guys recommend? Nadia, we'll start with you.
Okay. Yeah. It really is like sessions like this, right? Every week you're getting great information that we are providing to you, and we're having a conversation with other tax pros. So, you know, the way that we're running our firm is different than others, but we're sharing our knowledge, and then those ideas just come together. So definitely keeping up with the education. Now with this one big beautiful bill, let's see what else is coming out because the guidance is still pending from the IRS on those how is the return gonna look like on the 1040 for the overtime, the tips. So really start reaching out to other colleagues, other peers in the industry. Keep up that network group. attend these sessions and get to meet other people. And I'll say, I have a platform, a circle community where I bring in tax pros together, and we also share ideas and we share knowledge and education. And that really is what it is, because like I said, the demand for tax professionals is really high. There's not enough of us out there preparing tax returns. Nobody's going into this industry. So really it's a great industry to go into, but really let's stay prepared and let's stay educated and connected together.
Thank you, Nadia. Nish?
Oh, I can't agree with Nadia more. I swear that she has everything that I'm going to think of just come right out of her mouth. But it's so true. We just need to stay connected. We need to stay informed, find our trusted advisors, whether that's Nadia, whether it's myself, whether it's a Latino Tax Pro with Josue and all the great minds there. But look at their posts, share those posts so that you can get that information to the people that need it. Also, if you have even just the um, IRS subscription emails, they just sent one out last week. I was going to talk about it last week, but we weren't here. So the IRS announces no changes to individual information returns or withholding tables for 2025 with the One Big Beautiful Bill. So this kind of scares me a little bit, because if they're not going to change the W-2s to reflect the things that we need in order to process that overtime, that tip deduction, it might mean that we have even more work to do as tax pros. So stay informed, wait for that guidance.
Thank you, and that's really great information, Nesh, and things that they think about. Nadia shared her community link here in the chat box, and I put that in our social media platform. So feel free, Josue, anything you want to add, especially since you run, like, was it 5 offices?
Yeah, I think it's great. Definitely, being informed is a really good key. Don't try to overextend yourself. If you're unsure about it when you're talking to the client, just say, "I'll get back to you on it." So that way, you can look and do the research yourself and get to them. What I like to do is I like to organize myself and make sure I have like everything set and ready during tax season. Make sure you have your calendars of who's going to be coming in for the day. And basically, um, this business, I can't stress it enough. There's not enough preparers. Like Nadia was saying, there were low numbers, but high rewards. I know it gets tiring during tax season. I know it's stressful during tax season because you're not just a tax preparer, you're also a counselor, right? For every single one of the clients that come in. So it's just key that you get them information, get them informed, uh, especially with them not changing the taxes on your W-4s. They might have to come in for after tax season or maybe adjust it. And I don't know, you probably get a lot of clients that say, "What should my withholdings be? How much should I withhold?" Maybe it might be better just to say, "Hey, you know what? We'll divide it up by the pay periods and we'll say this is how much you should be withholding every single paycheck." It might be better to calculate it by that way, but make sure the clients are more informed. They're not going to end up paying at the taxes at the end of the year, because anything over $1,000 that they're ending up owing, they should be making some prepayments or making adjustments on their W-4s. But yeah, good information.
Yeah, thank you, Josue, and that's going to be great because actually that leads us and segues us to next week's topic, the ITINs, Social Security tips. So if you have questions on that, and if you don't, try to come up with some. So our panel here can answer as many as we can. And with that, we're at close to the half-hour mark, so we'll start opening up questions for everybody. I know one of the questions here on Facebook, they're asking us, are we gonna do it in Spanish? And the answer to that is yes, we're gonna be doing them in Spanish. We actually have a webinar um, that we're going to be doing tomorrow. It's going to be really great about if you're a business owner, how to protect your assets. If you're an ITIN holder before if it gets seized by the government or the agency, and at least what's going to happen. You have control over that, how to open it up. So I highly encourage you guys to be a part of this. And if you speak Spanish and understand Spanish, most of our team here is gonna do it. Nadia and Nej, I'll share that link if you guys can join. It is gonna be recorded, but it is gonna be in Spanish. So we're gonna see if you can do it in English as well. But in Spanish so far, we've gotten a great response. But we're gonna start at Thursdays at 11 a.m. California time. That's Pacific time. Wherever that line cuts, that's specific. So we'll go that route. But yeah, right now we have a question, and I don't want to be biased on answering why we're the best. And so what schools or training places do you recommend to people that want to become tax preparers? I'll let anyone. Josue, you want to answer this one?
Uh,
He's like,
Latino
oh,
Tax
what?
Pro, I would say. Um, Sometimes it's best also if you have offices in your own office. Maybe you have your own training that you want to go through. What we do is we used to call it boot camp, but now we call it wealth camp, and that teaches our preparers on how to generate income and get more clients to come into them as well. So that's basically key of how to talk to the clients, how to basically extend themselves to other people and not be embarrassed or shy, how to use software that we use, and basically what should you have prepared at your desk when you're preparing returns, and what's the operating procedures that you have when clients come in. How do you greet them? How do you talk to them? Like we have our before the client comes in, we always have to bring up the information and we always call them by name. They love to be called by their names. So just don't not say their names, because if you keep saying their names, they're gonna love it. But yeah, definitely if you have a procedure at your office, you kind of want all your preparers to do the same thing that you do. Make sure you teach it and train it, or it's not going to happen.
Yeah, at this wealth camp, Josue, one thing that I've always enjoyed when you talk about is who's the first person who's the most important person in that office, and it's always the receptionist,
Yeah, receptionist, exactly.
and that always gets bypassed because they're the first person that, oh, you know what, why am I explaining it? I'll let you explain it.
Yeah, the receptionist is the first person that they see, and they're greeted, and they're also the last person they see when they go to the front, or they pay the return, or they're leaving, or they answer the phone. We always say answer the phone with a smile, even though they're not in front of you, they can still feel the smile, right? So we do a lot of receptionist training as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Josue. Any other feedback from either Nadia or Nashla? I know there's a lot of great companies out there that offer a lot of training, a lot of support. We are not the only ones. We understand that, but we don't want to be as biased. Want to make sure that
I
e-
use
every
Latino Tax Pro in my office, to be honest. Whenever I have a new preparer, I will get the training from Latino Tax Pro and I will present that in conjunction to my own in-office procedures, my own training for how I show them how to use um, the software and whatnot. But definitely, I don't want to be biased, but I do use Latino Tax Pro.
Yeah, I'm sure after research and maybe using different type of education platforms, whatever feels more comfortable, usually that's where we go with. Like Josue and Neshla, we do have a lot of service bureaus that also use our system, not only for the theory part, but for the practice and aspect of it, learning how to manage the software as Josue does, as Neshla does, because we all have different softwares, or we may be using the same one. But whatever the software is that you use, that's the whole point of this type of training. This is why we have them doing by hand. It was great. I had to do a tax return by hand a few years back, and I was like, oh man, I wonder how long it would have taken me to actually go through the calculations, use a calculator, write it in, and I'm like, I'm glad we have software. That definitely cut down the time. But do you have any feedback, Nadia?
No, yeah, that's a really great point. Just doing it by hand, because yes, we have amazing software, but I will tell you behind the screen, it's a human writing the code. I have written code for 12 years now for two separate companies, for tax software companies, and we're human. I mean, we make mistakes too, we're writing code as much as we can. So really don't depend 110% on the software. It's still understand how the numbers got to the tax return, or why. If you're not understanding, then to really start analyzing how those amounts are there, and so that you can explain it to your clients. Because that's what I've seen when I explain returns to my clients. Tax time for them it's a daunting task for them. Nobody likes tax time, especially if you're a taxpayer that has no idea if you're getting a refund or you have money that's owed to the IRS. It really is explaining to them their situation, how we got to the amount of refund, or how we got to the amount of the balance due. And so you can just, we're not explaining tax law to them, but we're just explaining the money that came in, and this is what's due to the government, either the IRS or the state agency.
Nadia, when you do that, do you get your clients telling you, thank you, I've never had anybody explain it like that to me?
Yes, I do. And they really appreciate it. And what I do, I record, because I run my office 100% virtual. I do record a video of walking them through the tax return, not every single line. I usually do like the 2-year comparison and walk them through that. And, so that they understand there's 3 taxes that we all have to pay. We have to pay federal income tax, Social Security tax, Medicare tax. And then if you're in a state like California, you understand there's a 4th tax. You pay state income tax. But yes, it's walking them through that. I record that video, send it to them, and they really like that. I get great feedback because they can pause it, they can rewind it, they can watch it over and then come to me with questions after they've watched their video.
Oh, that's great. I usually do an email recap.
I've tried
But
that, but I always felt like the clients were not really reading
mhm,
emails. They'd ask me
yeah.
questions. I'm like, it's in your email, but I really enjoy doing the videos for them.
Yeah, no, the videos are great, and at the same time they're somewhat of a sense of security. Like, no, this is what I said. Here's a recording, and that's one of the reasons why I do the
Right.
emails. Like, remember we this is what we talked about, and this is why I laid it out. But yeah, I think that's always great that we have those clients that um, uh, we have clients that actually get really underserved, and they go to practices. I don't want to talk bad about any of them, but um, they just kind of get them in and then get them out. Have you experienced that, Nish? I'm sorry, I caught you in in the middle of coffee.
No, it's okay. Absolutely. I hear it all the time. Oh, well, the last place that I went to just took my stuff and then gave me my tax return. I had no idea what happened. And so they've been really appreciative of the fact that we know exactly what happened in their tax return and can explain it to them line by line if necessary, but not always, definitely. But it really affects my business model, I think, being able to explain everything to the client. They love it. And it's one of the reasons that we have a really great retention rate.
Awesome. Josue, you don't encounter that at all, do you?
Yeah.
Especially with the business owners, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I get a lot of clients that especially at other CPA offices that oh my gosh, you're actually showing me the return in the software. I was like, yeah, normally the last CPA place I went to I just dropped it off and I just came back and picked it up. I was like, yeah, but you don't know what really changed or what's going on or maybe what's going to happen in this coming year for the tax client that comes in. So I always recommend to do just a in front consultation, go over the return, and I think it's yeah, make sure that you go over the return with the client, basically. And that'll be just key. Clients are going to love you for it, and you'll have the client for life.
And they're going to refer you too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's always a good problem to have when they say, "Hey, I brought 3 clients." I know Josue might have dealt with this once or twice. Yeah, I brought 3 tax returns, but I know you're super busy, but can you squeeze them in? Yeah.
Yeah, I always say that my biggest referrals are my clients referring other people. But it's nice. I don't really have to really look for them. I like how my clients just say, "Oh, my preparer's Josue. Good luck on trying to get an appointment with him." And then it makes that client really want to get an appointment with Josue in town. It's like, man, he knows what to do. And then ask someone else, like, "Oh, Josue does your taxes? How do I get an appointment with him?" And of course, they have to call, maybe squeeze in. And my receptionist always says, "Well, you know what? If you can't make it for Josue's appointment, I don't think I can get you another appointment at the end of tax season. We may have to go an extension." "Oh no, I know my brother's gonna have a baby pretty soon. I'm gonna skip it. I'll make that appointment." I'm like, "Oh man." But
Yeah.
yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah, no, it's always great. Referrals, that client attention, and putting more of that that customer service. It's something that I've always enjoyed and prioritized myself. Even when I was out at the office, I'm like, hey, the receptionist, definitely, I agree with Josue. It was, we're too busy at times when we're like head down trying to plug in numbers and ask all these questions. But the receptionist is definitely, my hats off to them. They do a lot of work, and sometimes it goes unrecognized. So maybe this is a time to recognize all the receptionists for all the hard work that they do. But yeah, it looks like we didn't have any additional questions as of now. But next week we are going to be talking about ITIN, so security tips. We're going to have Nesh here, and we're going to have a couple other panelists. We're going to be missing Nadia and Josue. Uh, but we'll definitely have them in more more we more what word is it that I'm thinking of? Well, more webinars down the road. And yeah, so the way you can do sign up for these webinars, we're gonna have them either on our website, or if you actually have read our newsletters, or open them up. That's also a great source and a great way to stay informed, because if something comes out immediately, we do a press release right away. As soon as we get the information, we send it out. So that's where we announce all of our webinars, our upcoming events, and products that are coming out. But with this said, we're at our 40 mark. Uh, Nadia, any last words before we take off?
I think before I do the last words, I'd like to hear from Nej and from Josue on how we're preparing for the busy season that's coming up. I can go
Mhm.
first with I started sending out emails of, hey, I need your source documents, especially those corporate return, or those partnerships and S corps that are due September 15. I'm missing some information, so I started nudging my clients through email, asking, and giving them an internal deadline. My internal deadline is the 20th of this month, to give me enough time to work on those returns. And then also I'm going to send out my email out to those individual clients and also the corporate returns, asking for their stuff in a couple weeks. So, I'm kind of mentally preparing, getting my, documents in order. What am I missing? Getting those organizers and see what they haven't answered. What am I still missing? So that's my task this week, of going down my list of specific items that I'm missing from my clients. But I'm interested to find out how, Nej and Josue, how you're preparing for the upcoming season.
Well, upcoming season, like you said, I'm still in last season with these extensions. But I have my checklists out. I am working on them, working through them, and um, just trying to get through and make sure that I am doing actually WhatsApp statuses. That's how I'm getting to a lot of my clients, because I don't think that they're really opening their emails necessarily like I wish they would. But we use WhatsApp for our business. for chats and whatnot. And we've been doing a lot of WhatsApp statuses. Hey, if you're out there, you're still on extension, start to bring us your information. And that has been really helpful.
Do you have a platform that you send mass WhatsApp email or messages, or is it just individual?
Right. Well, I use the status update, so it's kind of like just like putting up a story on
Yeah.
Instagram or anything. So I put up basically these WhatsApp stories, and then I'll get
Oh, I
people
see.
hitting me back
Okay.
and say, "Oh yeah, thanks for the reminder." And so this goes for also like monthly sales tax and things like that. I utilize WhatsApp for that quite a bit.
Oh, that's a really good idea. I had not even thought about that, but yes, I have a
Yeah,
large client base that is very heavy users of WhatsApp. So you post the
exactly.
story on WhatsApp, and that's
Yeah,
how they
so we're already
story.
connected with
Yeah.
just clients. They're only clients that, excuse me, have WhatsApp and with us. And so once we put that out there, they're seeing our messages. It's been really helpful. How about you, Josue?
Yeah, so our company, well, personally, what I do is when I have a client that comes in, they're gonna drop off the information. I automatically set up an appointment up for us to meet again before the tax deadline, especially for September. I got a lot of corporations and partnerships that have some deadlines, and then the personal returns as well. And I usually we use a messaging software called Thrive, which it connects with our company, and we can send text messages. They send text messages reminders 3 days before, the day before, the day of. And we also are able to use, I guess, advertisement. So we can send the messages for, hey, have a great 4th of July this year, and it sends it to everybody out there. But we normally use it for our appointments, and it has a built-in calendar for our calendars, and we use that calendar for our daily appointments on there. So that way we can share a calendar, and it has a document so they can share their documents through that as well. And the calendar connects to Google. So if you Google our company, it shows our faces and it shows our calendar on Google. So you just click on the company, click instead of clicking the call button, you click on the calendar button to set up an appointment on there. But yeah, that's what we kind of use on there just to help us out. But definitely my key would be just, hey, if they drop off the stuff, set up the next appointment to go over the return. It doesn't mean you're going to finalize it right then and there, but at least it makes me say, hey, I got to get this done before they come in. So I can always see, hey, who's coming in this today. So I know what I have to do for that following day to get ready. But yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it's great. At Latino Tax Pro and even our tax office, we love automations. So the more we can automate stuff and do a lot of this stuff, it's great. The reminders, what Josue was talking about with using Thrive, we enjoy it because we actually set up reminders that his philosophy is if you contact them 3 times, they're gonna show up.
Mhm. Like,
So
stop bothering me.
yeah.
I know. And then text messages get annoying probably because right after they're done with the appointment, it sends them a Google review to Google to say as a
Yeah.
review.
Yeah, so yeah, and these are all is great feedback, and we are actually in actually this also brings up another great point that I was talking to Nadia and Nesh before we started was we're changing up the dynamics. It won't be just taxes what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about leadership. We're going to be talking about office procedures, marketing. We have a lot of topics, so stay tuned. We're planning out the rest of the year where I think we're all the way out to mid-October with the topic. So we're going to be announcing those next. So if there's something that you guys want to that you don't see in the list but want to see it, let us know. I think this is great perspective to see what Nadia is doing, what Nesh are doing, what Josue is doing, and or any other panelists that we invite here and see how they're running their offices, and then we can give each other tips and tricks on how to make it more efficient. So thank you, Josue, Nesh, and Nadia. And we're gonna see you guys tomorrow in the Spanish one or next week in the I think session that we're going to be having for next week. So thank you, Nadia, Nesh, and Josue, and everybody else that tuned in today. I hope you all enjoy a great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.